Well, on that note, we'll probably go into
On that note.
yeah, we're gonna try to make it, fun and happy. We're gonna rate some disaster movies that Crystal has in mind.
So I think we kind of went into this on our favorite movies list, and I said I liked disaster movies, and now I'm like, dang, now that I'm living in a disaster movie, it's just a little too real. But we have like a small list here. And there are different types of disaster movies. There are disasters based on like weather. There's disasters based on creatures that are, from like a different realm. And there's, of course, the classic zombie movie. And even one very similar to, what's going on with COVID-19 is like Contagion, which is like a sickness disaster movie. But we can like rank like groups of these. And we can start with ones that have to do with like weather disasters. And I have 2012, The Day After Tomorrow, and Twister. So I just want to ask, like, which one do you think is the worst disaster?
The worst
disaster. I think.
Oh, the worst disaster.
Yeah. Which one really fucked up the characters the most?
Oh.
2012.
I have to say I haven't watched all of this, so I can't.
Well,
I can't.
it's a little unfair because 2012 was like the world is ended, so I think that would be pretty bad. But as far as realistic, I think that's more between Twister and Day After Tomorrow. Although Day After Tomorrow is also pretty exaggerated, but I will say Day After Tomorrow would be worse.
Twister, remind me, was there one Twister or were there twisters all over the place? Because if it's just one Twister, I think a lot of
there were multiple twisters.
That's pretty bad. Twisters are scary. Tornadoes are scary. I know some people that live in like the flatlands in the U.S., like I forgot what state, but it's like those people, you know how like in California, we're pretty used to earthquakes. We're just like, oh, get under a doorway. Like there, if there's ever a tornado alert, like they'll be like crying, like, oh my God, we're going to die. It's like, they're not used to it. Like it just, oh my gosh, terrible.
That's crazy.
Why do they live there?
I don't know.
But I also feel like we can't fend against like any natural disaster.
No.
Like earthquake, we can't get under the door, but we're still going to get crushed by the house.
And that's something we can be thankful for is that we don't have any crazy weather disasters right now, because that would only make things worse. Maybe next month, because 2020 is only getting worse.
Maybe it's coming. As soon as all the hospitals are filled to capacity.
Someone knock on wood right now.
San Andreas fault.
The San Andreas fault.
True.
The San Andreas fault.
I mean, it was raining.
The timing.
The pressure is like built up maybe 200 plus years already.
We're
waiting for the big one.
Yeah.
So you know what? I guess that's something we can take away is that things could always get
worse.
worse.
By the grace of God, nothing's gonna happen.
I hope so.
Okay, so I think 2012 is pretty bad, like you said, because it's like the world pretty much ended. And I think there was a legit scare during that year too. We were like, when's it gonna happen?
Yeah.
That was
the
like
Mayans
the whole point
predicted
of that
it.
movie.
Yeah.
The Mayan calendar ended.
Yeah.
What was the explanation for that?
They just got lazy. They
made it a long time ago.
They were lazy.
Yeah, they died.
I think Day After Tomorrow was not too bad because everyone could just move south and they're all safe. So
okay,
That's true.
All right. So a lesson I'm taking away from here is just like move where there's no people. So Antarctica.
Yep.
Looking at you. Okay. Another genre of disaster would be disaster by a creature. And this would be, I would put Bird Box against Quiet Place against Cloverfield.
Ooh.
What do you think is the worst disaster setting to be in?
I feel like the one that fucked with the characters the most was probably A Quiet Place. Because Bird Box, I mean, to compare it to Bird Box, there was like a haven of blind people.
Yeah, bish, close your eyes.
You know,
That's like all you
yeah.
need to do.
But Quiet Place, you can't make one noise and you'd be
I know.
dead.
And then on that note, why did they have a baby though? That just makes things
That
so
is
much
also
harder.
True.
It's like
'Cause
population is.
Have you ever seen
can't build
Jurassic
it
Park?
from there.
Life finds a way.
life and
Like,
death.
this is what it is, and it makes things.
That's
much
like
more
automatic death.
well,
You
they
know?
just need really good soundproofing equipment.
Yeah, get a bunch of the.
But still,
that's not soundproofing.
that's like
sound
a
dampening.
crazy high risk.
It's
No.
that was just like a
I mean,
not
in
a
all fairness, I
good
don't
choice.
know if it was that much of a. I mean, I don't know how their access to birth control was in the post-apocalyptic world.
Well,
but for them
to
to
that
like
note, okay,
be like,
I listened to a podcast about what was it, the Donner Party, and it's like on those journeys, you know, they were actually really hard to go to the West, you know, and it's like, not to be controversial, but there was like they used like sponges and weird like spermicides as birth control, and if they knew they were pregnant, they would do like vigorous activity. They would like exercise basically until they like knew they
Miscarriage?
Miscarried. So it's like, you know, that was like way back then. It's very low tech, OC. Like if you're thinking about survival, you know, and you don't want to like eat your friends and mom, like you'll like do what needs to be. The Donner Party, you guys, they practice cannibalism because they were almost died.
Well, they did die, didn't they? Did they survive? Some of them survived?
Some of them did.
What? I did not know that.
No,
okay,
and
whatever.
life was hard for them after too.
Well, yeah. Okay.
I can send you a podcast.
Okay. But yeah, no, that's. I think that
people do crazy things to survive.
Yeah. Silent Place is probably one of my favorite disaster movies.
A Quiet Place?
Silent Place. Quiet Place. Quiet Place
Same
is probably
thing.
one of my favorite disaster movies just because I think it was like very interesting and very unique, and I liked how the way that it was carried out. But yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, I think A Quiet Place and
but it would be horrible
Box?
to be in that world. Yeah.
Bird Box, those can be compared very much because it's like one, you can't make a noise, one, you can't look at them. But Cloverfield, I guess, kind of was like left field because that's like kind of more of like a really big alien monster.
Yeah.
That one, how do you think they did after that movie? Did they survive? Do you think they were okay? It was a pretty big monster.
Yeah.
They're dead.
Yeah, they're dead. Let's be real. Didn't they make a sequel to that?
Yeah. Oh, they made like.
Oh, it was a prequel, wasn't it?
They
Right?
made like
They did
other
two prequels.
movies in that world. I don't know if it was before or
Okay.
after.
These are creature
They did-
disasters without like superhuman abilities, right?
Okay.
Because then if I'm thinking about it, there's a bunch of creature disasters where you could fight back.
Yeah, I mean, not Contagion. Cloverfield is like, now that I think about it, it's like Godzilla or King Kong, more like. But yeah.
How about I Am Legend? Is that considered one?
That's a zombie
Zombie.
one. We'll get to that. But yeah, I mean, if you're having a baby in the Quiet Place universe, that can't be the worst one, right? No,
I don't know. I just feel like
No, they're not.
never listen to music.
Wait, was
again.
Quiet Place taking place in like a modern day time, or was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was modern day.
Yeah,
I
they
think it
should just like went to a store and got some really good soundproofing equipment.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
go
they-
like underground.
I know. I think it just happened very quickly, and we didn't know what was going on, which was why like the response was like
Yeah.
too loud. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like I think by the time people realized what was going on, it was too late. But now that we have the movie, we can prepare, and it's like I don't know. I feel like Elon Musk might come up with some kind of like little like communication system where like we all have like earphones and we can like whisper into something and then it's like broadcasted to everyone and we can just be really silent.
Or it could just be like Morse code.
No, I don't want to learn that. I just want to wait till someone comes out with that audio equipment. But yeah, still that's a hard universe to exist in, I think. I think the like biggest kind of disaster movie genre would be like zombie movie. And I have
My
a
favorite.
couple, but I know there's like way more, but these ones are kind of like classics. So we have like 28 Days Later, World War Z, and Train to Busan.
Ooh, they're coming out with the second one soon.
Hell yeah.
A second Train to Busan?
Yeah.
Which one do you think
I'm
had,
Legend too is in this category.
which one do you think had the worst zombies?
The worst, like
The
as
worst
in
one?
the one who
The deadliest
Oh,
Probably-
and hardest. I'm Legend, maybe?
yeah.
They were really fast.
Either I Am Legend or Train to Busan.
Really? Train to Busan, they were kind of like human speed.
Yeah,
though.
they were just like, well, I mean, they can kind
Train
of
to
run.
Busan,
They
I
They
think
can
is
run.
I'll
maybe
say-
the same as 28 Days Later.
I'll say I Am Legend is worse than Train to Busan. Their zombies are worse than Train to Busan.
Because I Am Legend had the zombies were intellectual.
They
Like,
became intellectual.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same
Yeah.
thing with like
and it had a cure though, but it had a cure.
28
It
days.
did.
It did have
28
a
Days
cure.
Later,
Will
they
Smith
weren't
sacrificed himself.
they weren't intellectual. It was like the opposite. It was like they were humans. They weren't even dead, but they were like not intellectual. They were just like angry and they wanted to like kill people, right? They weren't even dead. They weren't classic zombies because they weren't undead.
Yeah, I need to watch some of these movies you guys are listing. But World War Z, I remember that one, and
That was also a scary one.
yeah, I'd say
That was.
they're pretty
I wanna
threatening
rewatch it.
if they didn't have the whole like just give this person some disease and then they're safe.
They had to sacrifice a lot of people in order for them to find like.
Yeah, but have you ever watched how it should have ended? They did like
I watched their videos.
Yeah, they did like a scene where a person at the hospital was like, "Hey, the zombies aren't attacking us." I think what diseases like, make them go away, or that's like a really huge plot hole. Because if the zombies
crazy.
aren't attacking sick people, right?
Yeah.
Then hospitals and stuff like that would be left alone. At least most of the people in the hospitals. So like
That's true.
they would have immediately known.
Well, also a funny disaster one is Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, I love
Yes.
that. I love Shaun of the
Classic.
Dead.
I love that
Yeah.
one.
Yes.
That one's so good.
Mhm.
That one could probably top this list. Just kidding, but
At least we laugh at the
Those
end.
Yeah.
zombies, they were like disguising themselves as zombies, and those zombies were getting tricked. So
yeah.
I,
Same with Zombieland.
yeah, I think those zombies are, Zombieland's fun.
Mhm.
I think those zombies are
Easier to
pretty-
kill.
a little easier
Yeah.
to survive by.
I guess in terms of the worst one, I would have to say it's like, I Am Legend. And the
I'm-
dog scene, that was so sad.
Mm.
I had to cry. I just remembered that too.
So yeah, things could always be worse, guys. I know we're dealing with this COVID-19, but at least it's not fast ass intelligent zombies
Yeah,
that could kill us.
that is very.
I think
true.
that
Yeah.
one day could happen though.
I didn't even say I Am Legend like in my first list, but now that I think about it, that is like the worst zombies.
Yeah.
The scariest looking, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
They all kind of look like more like creatures.
And Will Smith had to set up traps and stuff, and then slowly they kind of like realized.
oh man, I gotta rewatch it.
Yeah.
Talk
That's
to
a good
himself. That was
one.
crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
And then he lost his dog, and he really had to talk to himself.
when you lose a pet, that's probably like the worst part of a disaster movie, right? That's
You know
More
what?
than
Yeah.
losing a family
No,
member.
Oh, yeah.
or-
That was his family.
Forget about anyone else. It was
Forget.
the pet. It's the pet.
It's the pet.
He had no
It's
family.
the pet.
I think even in Independence Day, which you can also consider a disaster movie, like when that dog was in danger, I was like, "You better not!" But it was okay, thank God. Like,
Oh, God.
Okay.
what other disaster? I mean, there's War of Worlds, another. I mean, it could be aliens. They could come from the sky. They could come from below. You don't know what the
Yeah.
next disaster is going to be. So just stay safe, guys.
Stay safe.